Hello, Susan Shainerman, and today I would like to talk about movies. If you know me at all, you know I love the movies. As a matter of fact, back in, oh my gosh, in the olden days of 1980 through 95, 4, something like that, I really had an intention of trying to get myself into the movie business in some capacity. And I got into a video business. That was about as close as I got. But the movies have always fascinated me. I love the magic and I love the fantasy and I love the way that it can touch our hearts and touch our feelings. Case in point, anyway, those of you too who by any chance know me on Facebook know I have a complete and utter fascination with Johnny Depp. Sorry, I just think he's the cutest thing I've ever seen, and I think he's a really good actor, and I love the fact that he picks the most bizarre roles from one weird, wild extreme to another. Earlier in this week or last week, I got a copy of The Lone Ranger, and I just loved him as Tonto. I thought he did a fabulous job. But then I wanted to watch another movie of his, and I happen to have many DVDs, so I pulled out Finding Neverland. And I don't know how much you know about that movie. It's the story of J.M. Barrie, who wrote Peter Pan. And I have hesitated to watch that movie again. I've seen it before because to me, it's very sad at the end. And once again, I was sobbing as the movie came to an end. But then I watched the special features or whatever they call those things on the DVDs, and it was very fascinating. It was very fascinating to hear all of the actors, which included not only Johnny Depp, of course, but Kate Winslet and Dustin Hoffman, who played the theater owner where J.M. Barrie had his plays produced. And the story is that this man had a flop. And on the heels of that flop, he was trying to come up with an idea for a new play. And he knew that sort of his reputation, I guess you'd say, was in the balance. And he was at the park and spied a woman with 4 boys. And one thing led to the next, and he became very dear friends with the family. And with those boys, he let out his imagination and his creativity, which I imagine was always there anyway. But the way they made the movie look was that, these boys were a perfect testing ground or whatever for some of his ideas. And I mean, Peter Pan is acknowledged as one of the greatest children's classics, certainly in the last 100 years or more, if not more, forever. The movies, it was first produced as a play. I took some notes. In 1904 was when he wrote the book and when it was first performed in London. So it's well over 100 years. Then they made a silent feature out of it, and then of course Walt Disney did his version until the one that was done in the 2000s. I think it was 2004, 2005. But they all had pretty much the same thing to say of the moral, or what this man, J.M. Barrie, was trying to give us was the message that there is a part of us, within all of us, that is still that little child who doesn't really want to grow up. And it's important and very precious to remember that and to honor that and to feed that part of ourselves and to let that part of ourselves express itself. I believe it was I can't remember now if it was the director or Kate Winslet or whatever said that Johnny Depp very much embodies J.M. Barrie, because he is certainly the little boy who doesn't want to grow up, or he embodies Peter Pan for that matter. He's the boy who doesn't want to grow up, and the director said, look at his body of work. I mean, look at the characters he's played, and he chooses anywhere from Edward Scissorhands to Captain Jack Sparrow to J.M. Barrie, Tonto, the detective and the headless horseman, on and on and on. The most widely diverse accumulation of roles and body of work, I think, of anybody out there. It's all important to remember that part of us, all of us, and that's part of what my work is with trying to work and wake people up to their creative expression, because the creative expression is that child within us. It is the spirit. And I think people would be a lot happier, and the world would be a lot happier if more people could remember that and wrap their arms around it and integrate it into the way they live their life every day. Let me just take a fast look. Dustin Hoffman commented on Neverland, and that people have often, asked what did he think that represented. And he said, people say that it could be the imagination, it could be creativity, but he was the one who also said it could be that part of ourselves that will never die, that is the child who remembers the joy and the play and the quality of being able to be in the moment, totally present, which children certainly do. So I love the movie. I cried at the movie. That's one of the things I love about movies, is somehow they, maybe because they're visual and we can see them in front of us, and there's action and emotion being expressed on the screen, certainly in the big screen, much less on the television screen, and certainly even less perhaps on the video screen on the laptop or the mobile device screen, but there is definitely emotion conveyed. I've done a lot of writing, and I have a lot of collecting of notes and articles and so forth on how and why the movies are what they are and why people love them so much. Steven Spielberg has been quoted and says, "I dream for a living." So that's how one great movie maker describes what he does. It is almost 8 minutes now. I think that's enough, and I think I'm about videoed out at the moment. I hope you've enjoyed my ramblings. I had written in one of my blog posts when I talked about success osophy, is I hope you enjoy my success ossiphizing about all the different things that are of interest to me, and I hope they're of interest to you. Again, go visit my blog at www.susanshanerman.com, and I'll see you around cyberspace. Ciao.